Good morning, everybody. Happy Monday. A quick 5 minutes video this morning as I'm painting. See, I'm finishing up. I had these a few months ago. I started painting all these papers, background, and then I kind of left them aside. So I'm touching them up so I can start a new series. So while I'm touching that up, I'm sorry, I don't have makeup or anything on. I wanted to make a quick video to invite you to join us every Sunday morning at Celestial Farms. We're starting again weekly workshops there for a few reasons. I posted on my Facebook. So the theme is Colors of Nature. So I painted 2 years ago a collection of painting called Colors of Nature with very simple artworks. So when they asked me to paint landscapes, it was really difficult because I'm used to paint mandalas, which is geometric shapes. So you see, essentially, I use a compass and a ruler and I trace shapes. So for me, this is easier than actually painting a landscape when you're not really good at painting a house or an animal. It was a real challenge because they didn't want any symbol, they just wanted landscapes. So it was a challenge for me. So I had to find tools, right? Because of course I wasn't going to say no. They asked me to do 30 paintings for a children's hospital. Of course I'm going to do it. I'm just going to find a way that I'm going to be able to mix what I'm good at with learning new techniques, right? So using tracing papers so by doing silhouettes like that, I found pictures or I took pictures on internet and just tracing the silhouette, I could do super cute and beautiful things. So I'm going to show you a little bit some of the paintings that I did. You see, very simple, but with the let's see, with a little bit of creativity, you still can create something beautiful. You see? So that's what we're going to teach. So the first point is to commit to gather every Sunday and be outside, because it's easy in the weekend to be like, oh, I'm just going to catch up on my laundry, catch up on my cleaning the house and stuff, which is what I do in the weekend. And then it's 3 o'clock in the afternoon, you haven't done anything with your kids. And then you argue because you have this energy inside the house that they need to let the energy out. So even though I always feel like I don't have the time to do this kind of workshops, I have other projects. I did it on purpose to have to go, to commit myself to be outside with my son every weekend, to do something creative together. And if we can serve other families as well and teach the stuff that I believe the new generation need, then let's do it. So of course, I'm a really good friend with Veronica at the farm, and she's back now. So I really wanted to partner with them. So you can go discover this beautiful farm, this beautiful place, connect with the animals, meet new friends, learn the painting techniques. And also, we're going to talk about spirit animals because, of course, you're going to learn by going to the farm about the animals, what they look like, the sounds that they make. But in the art class, we're going to learn how you write the words. So for the little ones who are just learning letters and stuff, they learn to write, they learn the names. For the adults, the bigger ones, you can come as well. You will love it because it's really for all of the ages. You see, I did this not for my son or not with my son. I did it by myself because I like it. I think it's cute. And then you can frame it and put it in your kids' room as a gift. My son, he loves it when I make him a drawing and I'm like, hey, look, I made you something. He's like, oh, you made me something. Oh my God, so excited. But learning also about the messages, because when you're outside in nature and you see, for example, a snake, every time before I take a trip or before, I don't know, something, there is a snake that comes. So I'm painting at the same time, but I'm talking. There is a snake that comes into my house. And so I'm like, what is the meaning of the snake? What is the symbolism of the snake, right? Or if you see a little squirrel, so usually you take the properties of the animal and you apply to it, the squirrel is playful, very, very fast. If you see a turtle, it's kind of a slow animal, but it has a shell, right? So the animal that is kind of slow and gonna retract when it sees something under its shell. So turtle, I think it's a symbol for people that are introverts. So if you have children that are introverts, through a story of a turtle, you can go bring a message without them feeling like, oh, I have, this is not good about me or whatever. You can use a little story about a turtle and see that, for example, that story about the rabbit and the turtle, right? That race, and that sometimes it's okay to be slow, it's okay to be introvert, but on the other hand, the turtle is strong. I mean, you see, every class we're gonna do one animal, and I'm gonna prepare either a little story or the properties. So just so when you're outside in nature and you see the animal, you start thinking, what is the double meaning of seeing that animal? What is the message that brings? Okay. And also, I wanted to say something that's actually why I'm doing this video. I'm putting in on Sunday morning on purpose because it's church day, and most of the time when I invite people on doing something on a Sunday, they can't because they're going to church. And it's funny because yesterday or 2 days ago, I broke my garage door. I just the garage door was open and I had the handle. It's crazy. How would that even happen? The handle of the garage got locked into my door. So when I pulled the car out, the little handle got pulled with the garage, the door fell, and I pulled back into my garage. It's like, I wasn't even mad. I mean, for 2 minutes, I was like, what? Of course this is happening, but I wasn't even mad because I knew when something crazy like this, that's almost impossible, happens, it's God's hands, right? That maybe I was going to go out and have an accident, or whatever. I don't know for what reason I wasn't supposed to go out at that minute. But so my neighbor, who's really good at all the handy stuff and everything, I called him and I'm like, hey, can you come help me with my garage and fix it? And of course I paid him and stuff, but and at the end, so he spent an hour helping me. He fixed the garage, he saved the day. Seriously, I was so grateful. I couldn't have done it by myself. He made it all look like nothing even happened. But at the end, he was like, you can thank God. You can thank God that, I was here and I took time away from God today because they were preparing for their church day, right? He's like, I took time away from God today to come and help you. And I was like, yeah, of course, thank you. I'm so grateful, and but then I thought about it and I was like, maybe that was God, maybe that is God. You are God at work right now, and God is not at church. God is not inside the church waiting for you, and when you're outside of the church, God is gone. God is everywhere, God is the creator of nature. God is the one that got me stuck here. Maybe I didn't have an accident or whatever. Actually, while he was fixing the garage, I was pulling out the weeds. I had a whole bunch of weeds in front of my house for months that I was just like, oh, I don't have time to do that. I don't have time to do that. I'll do it later. And my garden looks like a jungle. And so while he was doing the garage, I was there pulling out the weeds, and now the front of my house looks clean again. And I was like, oh, see, well, maybe I wasn't supposed to go there. I was supposed to do that right now. Kind of forced to be stuck there so I could clean up. And so then I thought about it and I was like, well, first, because that made me feel, I get it, he wasn't reproaching me or whatever, but it kind of made me feel like, I'm taking my time away from God to do that. And I was like, maybe that is God, that is, you were with God and God said, okay, now you're putting God's to work, right, to help someone. And so yeah, so that's why I put it every Sunday, to get people out of the church and say, okay, God is not just in the church. God is when you're outside playing with your kids. God is when you're learning something new, when you're looking beyond the veil to see God everywhere and the messages of God and the universe, you know? And wow, I mean, that's just a little point that I wanted to say, because yeah, that kind of, that kind of bothers me, even when I was um in Mississippi, and of course I know people don't do things to hurt you, but all of my neighbors every Sunday morning they'd go out to church all together, so they knew I'm not a Christian, so they wouldn't invite me. And so on a Sunday I see them all at the park, and they're like, oh, we all went out to lunch today after church, and then they're all at the park, and I'm literally the only neighbor that was not invited because I'm not a Christian. And I was like, wow, well done, God. Like, thanks. Way to make me feel like an outcast. This is not God. Like, if you just like limiting, or secluded because of your religion, this is not God. God is everywhere. God is for everybody. We are all human. We are all one person. So, and I wasn't mad, whatever, people do what they want, but that kind of makes you reflect, on what is the religion, what is the purpose. It's to make you feel part of a community. Okay, but because you're part of a community, you're gonna exclude everyone else who doesn't think like you think I'm less God-like than you because I don't go to church. I see God everywhere. So yeah, so that's also why it's on a Sunday morning. It's kind of the resistance workshop on Sunday morning, and of course all ages, all faith, welcome. And yeah, so I hope that you will join us and paint. And it's also for people who think they're not really good at painting, just like me. I never consider myself really good at painting. I think the Dottyism technique, because it's kind of like a mosaic effect, is what makes the painting look good. If there wasn't the dots, it would just look like a very simple, most random pattern, very simple. But because the dots is what makes it look 3D mosaic, and the dots is very symbolic, we are all a dot, we're all a piece of the puzzle. Yeah, just like the Impressionism. Yesterday I was at the exhibition from Van Gogh, right? And from close you can really see, but you have to step back to be able to see everything. And it's very symbolic also. This is the whole great thing about the Dottyism in my art, is that it's not just art, it's a whole vision of society, Sometimes I feel like, I feel like I'm not able to develop my own thing because I'm too spread out. I'm here looking at that page and that page and that page and that page, and because I'm passionate, because I love it to go, when I see people that are amazing and doing amazing work and stuff, I have to go comment and be like, oh my God, this is awesome. Yeah, I love you. I believe in you. Yeah, you rock it, whatever. Because yeah, we have to encourage each other. It's not being a parasite or being a whatever, a pet, whatever. It's when every human should cheer on each other and stuff like that. But it's also, I like to see what's going on everywhere, because if I just focus on myself, then I have one little vision of the world. But if you want to have the greater vision of the world, you have to be everywhere. You have to see what's going on there and here and there, and what these people think and what those people are doing and stuff like that. And this is the Dottyism. It's taking a step back and being able to see what the groups do everywhere, so you can assemble and connect everybody and then create a harmony between everything else, So yeah, it's so much more than, it looks very simple, but the world is simple. We make it complicated. So it's also a shift, and without entering into the religious or political speech, it naturally, because you're learning to doing through the art, through something joyful, but for the kids it's important, from the very beginning of their life, that they learn to see differently, and then they will apply this to every aspect of life. All right, so I hope, see, I'm starting this little one like that. I don't know, I just did this for fun one day, but also one more thing. I feel like when I look at my mandalas from before, from when I started, some of them I feel like they're even better and more fun, because when I didn't plan on being an artist, I didn't plan on selling my paintings, so I didn't really care. I was like, oh, whatever, I'm just gonna do whatever, fun, try stuff, take risk, and then they would turn out good. And when I'm painting for someone, or someone paid me like for a restaurant to make a painting, and I still haven't done it because it's like a block, it's like you don't want to disappoint. So, and because he was also so picky, he was like, yeah, I want it like this, like that. And then you're like, oh, I don't want to disappoint. And then you have this block. So if you're doing just for the fun, so this one, you see, it's not for anybody yet. I was just starting. I was like, oh, let me try what happens if I do a shape like that. What does it look like? So it doesn't look great, but sometimes it doesn't start looking great. And at the end, I try stuff and then it looks good. So it's all the process. You know what not Shakespeare, Van Gogh, there was a quote. I don't know the quote word for word, but it was pretty much saying, the art is just like the life. At first, you don't know what you're going to draw, and then you make a sketch, and from the sketch, it becomes an artwork, So life is the same. Like, you sketched the guidelines, and it was really good because you could see all the steps of painting. But anyways, I don't want it to make it too long today. I have stuff to do, but hope to see you every Sunday, Jacksonville. Bring your kids, even if not with the kids, you can come as an adult. You can also learn to paint and add up, bring up your own vision and experience. It will be discussion and art and stuff. It will be fun. All right, have a great week, everybody.